I know, this strange orange man on the screen. We're going to have to put up with that, unfortunately, but just for today. Now, I'm not going to mess around because we're already over time and no time for a monologue or statements on my behalf. But we have secured Cy Hossain, and we call him Cy, and he's going to join us today and tell us something about Crowdcast. And I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So I'm infringed upon by a few technical difficulties. The reason I'm the orange man today is my computer caught a virus about half an hour ago, and I've been fighting him off, and then I finally just switched to my laptop. So I'm kind of crippled. I've got two hands tied behind my back as opposed to one. And now we're basically going to cut loose with this, but I want to say each of my constituents, if you just say hi and let it go at that, I'd like to introduce our team of panelists, and then we're going to go right to Cy. So everyone say hi, a really quick hi. Terry?
Hi, and let it go with that.
And Molly?
Hey everyone, good to see you again.
And Karen?
Hello, happy 4th of July, everyone.
Yeah, and thank you very much for the informality and my, my hanging this on the fly. But anyway, now we're going to introduce you to Cy. And Cy, if you're there, would you like to say hi? Okay, I think Cy froze. So we're going to have additional issues because Cy is joining us today by mobile phone, by a smartphone. And the reason he's doing that, I wish he was here to tell the story, but I guess I could give you the short version of this. By the way, before I continue on about Cy, while he is not here, people, I'm very sorry that we had the hang up and we delayed you by 15 minutes. I think that's the first time. We've been late like 5 minutes before, but usually we start on time. And thank you very much for hanging in there. Let's see how many people are actually with us. Okay, it looks like we've got 18 signed on and in, and people are talking and stuff, and I appreciate that. So we've got a series of questions mounting, and those we will attend to. If we don't get to them during the broadcast, I will follow up at least, and we'll answer them after the program is over. But I guess we lost Cy. He said he had a few minutes, but maybe because of his traveling or whatever, he had less than that. So
yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there you are. So Cy, would you give us a few words about what you are preparing to do shortly here, and why you're traveling and cannot be at your computer right now?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me, but
yes.
Yeah, I'm at an event where we're gonna go hang out with the.
Whoops, that lagged out.
Go to live.peakmind.org.
Your voice cut out there for a bit, so I think that we might have missed the punchline.
I can just quickly share when I joined by Vimble a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I was just saying, if you want to see the event that I'm at, go to live.peakmind.org.
Molly, you going to share that?
Yeah, I was just quickly going to share a couple weeks ago when I joined by Mobile. I experienced an outage as well. I had a dead spot where I was at, and even though I was connected to my mobile connection, it just wasn't compatible. So I think that's one of the things that they're still working out. And personally, I cannot wait until we can access the internet from outer space. That way, internet will literally be everywhere in the world. I can't wait.
No doubt. Maybe if I could short circuit the story itself, I know a little bit about it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Cy. You were about to possibly meet the Dalai Lama. Now, if that is in case, or I'm going to follow up and show that, and then maybe write a little article about that. But it's very interesting that you would be doing that today while we're trying to do this, and and yet you are here with us. So we were going to go to the Crowdcast web page and show basically a setting up of an event for Crowdcast. So can I go and do a screen share and we can try that?
That sounds great.
Okay. So I'm going to share with you my screen, and by the way, it's a laptop, so now I can't see anybody, but I hope that you can hear me. And what do you see?
We see your screen.
Okay, so you see the events. Let's see, maybe if I do an expansion there, can you see that okay?
Yes.
We saw
Yes.
it better before.
Really?
Yes.
Let me go back.
There you go. It's bigger now.
Oh, what a trip. Okay, so I don't know where Cy is, but I'm going to go through a basic setup of an event as I know it. And I'm sorry that I'm not Cy guiding you through, but he can correct me if he's listening. So to create a new event, we have the left column access bar. And, you know, this is what we've commonly referred to as the hamburger right here. So you click on that, and you have some options. If we were to click on new events, well, this is where we are right here. And events, I mean my events. And new events are the things that either I'm planning, doing, or have visited. This column here is what I've visited, and this column here is what I've done. So if I click on my events, I have this option of like going to the event that we're in, or going to see the previous events. Let me try that once. If I were to click on Crowdcast testing event, I could actually watch that prior event from Crowdcast and review the polls and the questions and see who attended and actually see the entire dialogue of what we did that day and text typed into it and so forth. So what we're going to do at the moment is we are going to click New Event. Everybody still with me?
Yes, we are
Yeah.
still with you.
Yeah. Because I'm kind of blind to the inner circle, every once in a while I'll just need you guys to pipe in and interrupt me or say, aha, or something.
I don't think you're going to be hit by a virus twice in one day.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking is because I'm not looking at anything as far as the visual event, if I happen to go dark or disconnect, I'll be sitting here talking to myself for 15 minutes and you guys will be waiting.
We'll be screaming.
Okay. Okay. So basically we have the setup screen, which looks quite a bit different than regular Hangouts, but it does essentially very much the same thing, except for it adds a couple things that we'll get to down the bottom there. So let's call this my event. So we'll call it my test event in Crowdcast, and the description will be sample of event setup. We're going to have it start later, and as soon as we click later, we're designated a time opportunity. And basically, this is really squirrely, I got to tell you. But let's say we're going to call this 3 o'clock. And it's really weird, but if you click on the numbers you want to change and then just type in what you want, it apparently knows what you're trying to do. So I'm going to click on AM, and if I were to go the arrows here will actually let me change what the PM, AM, PM thing is. Or if I highlight it and just type in AM, it's going to change automatically. So we'll make this PM, and we'll get used to how it types and how it goes right, you know, so at some point. And let's change the date to tomorrow so there's no conflict. And we'll make this public, of course. And we're going to make this a registration required event. and I want to send email reminders. So right off the bat, we have an option to, after you go public, you can say, we require registration from the event. And when you require registration, it's not anything particular except for you have to be registered with Crowdcast and you have to say yes and check into the event. And then when you do that, it categorizes you in the list of people that they can contact. Because guess what? When you look down to the bottom, the next one, send email reminders, you can actually contact everybody who registered and send them reminders from here. So similarly, the way events do in Hangouts, this does this here, but it does it more succinctly because you're emailing the exact registries, registries, whatever.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you kind of got to ignore my issues with the English language. I do pretty well, but I'm not perfect.
The registrants.
So anyway,
Registrants, I think.
yeah, there you go. Thank you, Mr. Walking Dictionary. Anyway, by the way, if my guys in the panel have any questions or am I missing something, just let me know. Just say, wait a minute, Roland, you're wrong about that. I'm going to click Create Event, and then it takes us to this. Now it looks basically like what we've looked at before, and you'll notice that since I started this event, it's basically just it's the same as it always is, registered under my name, but now it's number 6. And if I do another one, it'll be number 7, 8, 9, etc. Keeps it very, very simple. And that's basically...
Roland, do you want to talk about, when you talk about registration, the idea that folks can bring in other audiences besides, I mean, right now we know it's Google+, but if you wanted to also branch out and share that same link, it also can be for folks who are audience or your followers are on Twitter and Facebook?
Yeah, actually, I'm prepared to basically mouth off about all that. And hang on. Cider is commenting here. Okay, Cy's connection isn't strong enough to hear us, but please go on with the show. And he wishes he could join us properly, but he's not going to be able to do it. So I'm very sorry that we don't have Cy. We had him for a little while, and I'm going to unshare my screen if it'll let me.
Another thing that I noticed on that page that you were just on was that it was mentioning how you could also import live stream and others. I would imagine and others would be like YouTube live events and stuff like that as well.
That is a question that we would have had to ask Cy for sure. But
okay.
The question that Karen was asking earlier about the Twitter and Facebook connection, right, cutting it to the quick, what I see this most helpful for is recruiting from other alternate resources as opposed to Google+. I don't think it's going to be a conversion so much. I don't think it's going to be an interfacing with all 3 formats at the same time. Somebody in the questions and topics asked if we were going to be integrated. I think it was Rain. Well, are we going to be integrating it so that people can respond live from Facebook, from Twitter, and from Google+? And the answer is no. I don't think so, but that could be wrong, and we would have needed Cy to verify that. Molly, you have a statement? Go ahead and take the mic. You're muted at the moment.
I just quickly wanted to add that one of the main differences between Crowdcast and a lot of the other video platforms is this platform actually is able to plug into most video streaming services, including Hangouts. I actually had the privilege of getting the one-pager from Cy, which is a breakdown of some of the benefits. And regarding this platform and the ability to join, he mentions that they designed Crowdcast to be able to plug into any video streaming service by focusing on everything but the streaming, we've been able to provide the most value where it's needed. The experience and the analytics. As the video streaming services get better, we're able to immediately take advantage of their improvements. We do plan on eventually building our own version of the video streaming once we have a bigger team. But I just wanted to let people know that this particular, what I call is a Hangout wrapper, it actually does integrate with other video platforms.
That sounds fabulous. And people will wonder, well, what does this mean? Are they going to lead us to different platforms instead of Hangouts on air or something like that? And I don't think that's even the issue. I think what is the laminate issue to what you just described, Molly, is that the interactive resources all meet in Crowdcast, and Crowdcast, correct me if I'm wrong, Molly, Crowdcast doesn't become searchable for its own community for the Hangouts that are recorded and started in Crowdcast. So
right. That's one of the main differences with Crowdcast versus Hangouts, and everybody knows I'm a big fan of search engine optimization. And Crowdcast, the difference, now a Hangout on air can get indexed, but with Crowdcast you can actually index the questions and the comments in addition to the event. So say somebody's typing or searching for a specific question that's been asked during your Hangout, well, that actually gets indexed, meaning there's a better opportunity to get exposure to that Hangout by using Crowdcast versus using just Hangouts on air. In fact,
yes.
I've prepared an infographic that later in the presentation, when we've had an opportunity to highlight some of the benefits of Crowdcast versus just a Hangout on air.
So let's move on to that in one moment. But while you were on that whole idea, I want to try something, because what you were just describing was how the questions can be indexed and searchable. So the one that makes the most sense for me to highlight right now is the first one we received from Rain Dowell, and I'm going to click the button right now so that it's going to timestamp it for this moment, and then we're going to talk about it briefly and mention that we talked about it before this moment and so forth. So I'm going to start that right now. Okay. So we're in the midst of the answer to Rain Dowell's question. Received a couple of votes, they're probably both mine. And the question is, will Cy be developing this tool to allow the host to pin comments, questions from Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus during the broadcast? Now, as I mentioned before, I think the answer to that is no, because the ultimate goal is to have everybody speaking in the same conversation, or a cumulative conversation that's focused on exactly what we're talking about. And therefore, I don't think that the different networks are going to want all these comments coming in from different resources and trying to sort them. I think that they're going to want you commenting right here in Crowdcast, and I don't think it's that much of a problem. So I really look at the combination of the Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus interaction being the resources from which people originate to come to the event. But once you're in the event, it's not like you're on Twitter anymore, or on Facebook, or even on Google Plus. You're going to be in Crowdcast. So that's the big difference that I see. And I'm going to go ahead and end unless anyone else has a comment to add to that, what I've just said.
No, I get the emphasis is that you're in Crowdcast when you come here, not in any of those others.
Exactly. So I really think that it's going to be a siphoning tool and a gathering tool, and the Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus combination is going to be something that we can definitely leverage when we figure that out. When we figure out how to expand out from Google Plus into a Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter realm, I think it's going to be very, very powerful. So the strategies will be developing from now. That's my guess. So anyway, we timestamp that. I'm going to click the button that says Done Answering, and I don't know what exactly people got to see during that whole thing, but
I was watching it. A little red square appeared around the question while you were answering it, and when you checked it, the square went away. Okay, and so did the question.
cool. So we might get back to some questions a little bit later, see how things are going. But anyway, I think that it's time to have Molly take us through a little infographic to tell us more and get a visual idea of what's going on with Crowdcast. Molly?
Sure. Thanks for that. Let me try and do a screen share. Everybody keep your fingers crossed. Okay, I think we're going to be okay. Okay. Can everybody see my screen? Roland, can you pin me so everybody can see my screen, please? Great.
Yes, we can see you, and we can hear you.
Great. Okay. So I did a quick little infographic about Crowdcast. One of the main things I really like about it is the advanced analytics, meaning you can track gender, you can track location, you can actually send out messages. Say if you've got a group of people from California, you literally can send a message straight to everybody just in California. Something else, if you hear any background noise, it is thundering and lightning where I'm at, so I apologize, but I have no control over the weather. So aside from that, we mentioned earlier search engine optimization regarding the comments and questions. That's something above and beyond what Hangouts on Air can do. In addition to that, one of the benefits is social network marketing, meaning we're actually able to take events that are streamed through Crowdcast and engage other platforms like Facebook and Twitter. I think this is a great feature because of the fact that right now Google Hangout on Air really is dedicated just to the Google Plus platform, and I am a huge fan of social media marketing. I've been actually conducting an experiment on myself for the last year and a half, and I have found that it works. As long as you are actively participating on the social networks, you're sharing interesting content, and most important, you're engaging with your audience on social media. One of the other big points is the audience engagement. Like Roland was mentioning earlier, he's able to actually go in, pull different questions, respond to people. To me, that's really important. And one of the things that I think that Crowdcast has really hit upon versus, say, a Hangout on Air, because I know I've seen several Hangout on Airs where they actually have a comment tracker wrangler on the sideline. Actually, just their function is just to take care of the comments. And one of the main differences with Crowdcast is the presenter, the host, they have all that right at their fingertips. So I think that's definitely a huge improvement for Hangout on Air providers. Another big feature is earning money from hanging out. I know for the most part, a lot of the Hangout providers, they do it for free. They do it for exposure and to gain audience members. But at the end of the day, we all have to pay our light bill. And sometimes, considering to actually monetizing it, I know right now the way it's currently set up, you can monetize a Hangout by going and you have to set up a separate event page aside from your Hangout on Air, and then you have to go into the advanced settings and you have to engage I think it's the buy tickets. So, and some people may not be selling tickets. They may be selling just a flat fee to hanging out. So that's one of the things I really like about Crowdcast is you don't have to go to all those extra steps. You literally, from the settings, can go in there and say you want to set up a price of, I don't know, $14.99 to go over a certain subject, or say you have a series of different topics. Like if you're going to talk about search engine optimization, well, that's a pretty broad topic, and you could literally have probably 15 or 20 different Hangouts about search engine optimization. So you could even, in theory, go and sell that as a course of study. So that's one of the really big things I like about it. And of course, it integrates with PayPal and most of the well-known merchant account providers. I'm actually working with Cy right now on that in regards to their platform and how they're going to be monetizing Crowdcast in the future. One of the main points that Cy made to me, though, in one of the actual points why they came up with Crowdcast is the event sign-up and viewing. Right now, I think we quickly touched upon this earlier, but when you have event sign-ups on Google Hangouts on Air, it's all individual. There's no way to actually bring multiple Hangouts on Air together as one sign-up versus the way that Crowdcast has it set up. And so the way Cy and his team of developers have set this up, you literally can take multiple different events and cluster them together and have multiple viewings and multiple sign-ups all from one spot, which I think is a really key point and pretty brilliant, in my opinion. The video streaming capabilities, we quickly touched upon that earlier in the presentation, that the Crowdcast app has a lot better video streaming capability. It has the ability to really get a lot wider audience. And then we have our sessions. The sessions are just the different events. One of the features I really like, and I've always thought, why is it all of these Google Hangouts on Air, they're all separate, they're all segmented, meaning once you attend a Hangout on Air, you literally have to go back to your events page, you have to go back to your previous viewed events and go find the event that you attended. Well, that's not the case with Crowdcast. With Crowdcast, once you sign up, you literally can log into your Crowdcast account, and every single event that you've ever participated in is right there, right at your fingertips, which I think is a huge time saver. I know, at least for me, because I'm constantly going back and rewatching either a Hangout I've attended or a Hangout that I've participated in, and just the sheer time that I've spent looking for prior events, I probably could have had a whole day's worth of productivity. And then one of the really interesting
before you go on to the polls, before you even leave this topic, Rain just asked, and I'm asking too. There's a button that says "Create New Session" within an event, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you're talking about. The sessions. And that keeps so you create one event that you could charge for, and it's going to be a whole series of these sessions all inside this one event.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I'd like you to talk more about the event sign-up and viewing features too, because that is a major thing that a summary doesn't do justice to.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was just quickly trying to, I didn't want to corner the Hangout. I just quickly wanted to go.
You corner away.
Well, we'll talk about it now then. The event sign-up and viewing, so right now, if you are a Hangout provider, when you go and set up an event, it's just one event. Meaning you go and you can advertise the event, you can invite people to the event, but the main difference between, let's say if you're a Hangout provider and you have a show every week at, Thursday at 4 p.m. Well, instead of having to go in every week and creating this event, you literally can go in and create these sessions, which is going to eliminate the need to go in and create a totally separate event every time. So that's one of the things that I think is really neat about Crowdcast, because with the way, and again, I'm not knocking it, but the way Google Hangouts on Air is currently set up, you literally have to go program each one of these individually. So I thought that was really a brilliant point that Cy and his developers came up with when they came up with this platform, is it really does make it a lot easier to just, it's all in one spot, I mean, it makes perfect sense to me. So did you have any other questions or insights on the event sign up and viewing, Terry, or anyone in the audience?
Well, I can see where, you could make a collection or a community and put all of your event chunks, all your event pages in that one collection or community, I suppose. But you can't charge. You can't say, oh, and for $15 you're going to get this ongoing stream of events for the next 6 weeks and all these sessions. So that's one really awesome thing, is that there's actually a purchase window, or what would you call it? Some way of attaching a value to what you're doing, and get access to a portal, a payment portal, to where people can pay for something.
Well, The reason I think that's so important is I know just there's several Hangout providers that I watch on a regular basis, and they share really good information. I mean, it's really good information that's worth money. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know about you, I run a digital agency like yourself, Terry, and at the end of the day, when we go to all the effort to, to learn all this information, to learn all this data, and even it doesn't even have to be about technical, it could be about legal information or home caring or, just psychological. I mean, it could go over a variety of different platforms and different subjects that people are hanging out about. But, it's something that I think it's a really nice feature, and I think it's really brilliant how the developers and Cy included that with the Hangout, or with the Crowdcast. Excuse me.
Imagine you're a coach, and you could put all of a person's sessions into that one event, so that they can always refer back to the previous coaching events, and it's all on one page.
Right.
That's
well,
just another idea, another thought that you charge.
Something else too is I'm actually working with an organization right now. They're one of my clients, and they are in the process of becoming a college. And it's been discussed that, well, we need to make sure we have all of their courses online. It's actually the Inventors Assistance League, and they're going to be coming up with the college on how inventors can learn how to do patent searches and provisional patents and all the different legalities and steps and prototypes and manufacturing and just all the different aspects that go into becoming an inventor and legitimately taking your idea or invention and patenting it. And of course that gets into the legal realm, and so there's a lot of information to be imparted there, and I've already talked to the CEO that we need to use video because there's places like Udemy, Khan Academy, there's all these different online educators, if you will, that are using video. So to me, it just makes perfect sense to take what Google's given us in Hangouts and what Cy has given us with Crowdcast, to take all of these subjects that we're going to be teaching about and use the technology to be able to monetize it. But that's just my 2 cents.
Definitely. And instead of making Udemy and Udacity and all these types of marketing platforms be the one and only way of doing this, the fact that you can create your own, basically like a web page inside of the Crowdcast scene. That web page is an event, and it's full of sessions.
Well,
and it's already done for you as far as the comments and all that kind of stuff. You're not having to figure out how to create a web page with all that kind of features. And sure, there's Thinkific and Fedora that have some functionality in terms of comment streams and whatnot, but this is already done. It's already done. So,
well, and I would say that even empowers a business owner who they may not be familiar with coding or building a website or any of this stuff, any of this technical stuff, a search engine optimization. This tool with Hangouts, with Crowdcast, implementing them together, it gives a business owner that power of being able to enable them to use what is out there so they can take their information. I see we have Rain here. Hey, Rain, how you doing?
I know, I'm holding my hand up to speak in my own Hangout, which is kind of unusual, but I don't mind. But the reason is twofold. Number one, I don't want to be rude to Rain, and another thing is I wanted to mention on that last subject, I've been invited to join a group that may be doing a live broadcast recording that is private, and it might be a charging event where we actually have an afternoon planned with several different speakers and several different interactive opportunities, all based on Hangouts. But it sounds like this facility would enable us to find ways to charge for that, and I like that idea of integrating whereas before it wasn't an option. I'm not going to start charging for Saturday morning marketing smarties, but we definitely are planning on charging for this other. So with that, just to add that, it gives you a different view of Hangouts now, doesn't it? Money, it's possible, sure.
Well,
now, Rain, I'm sorry, I can't wait any longer. I've got to introduce Rain, and we had a reason for that, and we'll explain that in a moment, but I'll let Molly finish up with her follow-up statement. Hi, Rain. Join us and say hi.
Hi, Roland. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's unexpected.
I know. I kind of sprung that on you. So I was doing my limited ability check of the comment stream, and the one that I want to address is that your comment question was directed on behalf of the Google Plus HOA hosts who already have an audience in Google Plus, and I want to discuss that for a few minutes, but we want to get to that just in a moment. I want to let Molly finish up with the last subject, if you would, Molly. Go ahead.
Sure. So during one of our Hangouts with Cy, he mentioned to me that really the best way to think about Crowdcast is think like you're in a presentation hall and you have people getting ready to come to an event. Well, that's really what Crowdcast is, except it's online, meaning you can use the tool to tell people about your event prior to it. You can gain interest by advertising it on social media. You can engage with the people by asking poll questions, which is one of the last points that was on the infographic, which I will post the link to the event area later on this afternoon so people who are watching can have a link to the infographic. But really, it's a type of tool that, if you think of it in that perspective, that it's like a presentation hall, and you can really interact with people with polls, with questions, liking, commenting. It really is a great tool. And I know just for myself, I am definitely planning on using Crowdcast to just engage my audience and people that I network with.
Good. And real quickly, I know that Denver Prophet Jr. had asked a question regarding the use of the comment stream versus the Q&T or the Q&As, and he suggested maybe they should be switched places. And I'll tell you how I feel about that, Denver. The Q&A is 10 times more important than the comment stream. The comment stream is essential because it sets the people to a comfortable atmosphere where they're going to comment as they will, and a lot of good comments coming from that. But the comment stream is not the focus, because the Q&A always addresses, or should address, the subject for the day. We get together for an hour, and the Q&A or the Q&T addresses something relative to the primary subject. So if you're going to have a focused conversation, you want to guide people's views to what is pertinent to the conversation, not just what they're seeing on the side. Now, the comments I've found are sometimes very, very pertinent and very important. That's why we've talked to Cy, and plus he's had a lot of outside influence here too, to actually build a comment tracker simulation or maybe an improvement into Crowdcast. So with that, Rain, I wanted to turn this over to you, and you could explore this concept that you had in your comment, please.
Yeah, I absolutely love Crowdcast, and I've been diving into it. It's an amazing tool. I'm 100% on board with this. And mine was more focused towards, because on Google Plus with Hangouts, there's such an amazing ability to connect with your audience when they're asking questions, and that is by pinning their comments and their questions up on the screen. And to me, that is the most powerful tool in order to engage with them. And that was the only thing when I came into Crowdcast that I wondered, because you can like you did with this event, Roland. If it was set up, just if it had been a public event, you would be able to pin the comments on the Google Plus side with that event right here in this Crowdcast, because it's a Hangout on air, right? But what I thought was that's leaving 2/3 of your audience out. That's leaving the Facebook and your Twitter audience out, and you're not being able to pin their comments. So that was one of the main things, because there's as Molly was saying, there's a lot of HOA hosts that they already have a great audience. They already have a lot of people that love their content, love their shows, are watch all the time. And it'd be nice to see that when they come over here. And plus, it's difficult if you've got somebody comment tracking on the Google Plus side. You basically, the host, you're going to need one person, either the host or they're going to have to be watching the comments going in the Crowdcast side, and you're going to need somebody who's comment tracking on the Google Plus side if you've already got an audience over there. So yeah, I was just kind of wondering if there was going to be some kind of way where there was going to be an integration where with one tool, your comment tracker or wing person could have the ability to do the same for all three.
Now, I'll be amazed if they can come up with something like that, Rain. But I think that we're concerned with restructuring the strategy with how we do these Hangouts. And basically, I think that the idea is to drive them to one source so that they're all integrated and interacting in the same thing, and not say, well, I'm a Twitterer, well, I'm a Facebooker, well, I'm a G+. We have to get over that, and we have to get on board the platform if we're going to get the most impact out of the presentation. So what I'm thinking is I want to transfer completely to a Crowdcast-based entity. And of course, yeah, it's still Hangouts. So what does that do for the people who are communicating in G+? Because as of right now, Crowdcast cannot match the integrated interaction of Google+. Now, part of that is the plus naming people when you comment after the fact. You can get in touch with someone even a day or two later, and they know, oh, so-and-so commented something on my stuff because I got it in the email. No, so now, until Crowdcast is integrated that cleanly and so pointedly, they can't beat Google+, and therefore I don't want to just abandon it. But there was probably going to be some similar considerations with Twitter and with Facebook too, and we're going to have to learn to make the best of all three worlds. But I think that our ultimate objective is to make things work, guiding from Google+ to Crowdcast and making it work all in one package. So that's why we've got Cy working with us, and I really wanted him to be here so you could see that he's a really nice guy. He listens to the people, and he's willing to work with us. And so we can develop a relationship that will be influential on what he builds.
Yeah, to underscore though what you're saying about this whole thing of bringing it all together is, if believe me, I have seen the suffering, the pain and suffering of the poor co-producers of shows all over the place, Rain included, and when you're trying to deal with comment tracker and have comments coming in from Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, the events page, just those four alone. And you're losing your mind and trying to keep up with them and bring them into the screen and deciding how you're going to pin them, and then the pinning doesn't always work, and so this way with the Q&A app, not only it's not a Q&T app, by the way, because they also suggest new topics to discuss, and it's a little bit. It's being pitched as a little bit more than just question and answer, but still, the fact that you can pin and it gets timestamped automatically, similar to how the Q&A act works.
Yeah, but I wish they just decide on whether they're going to call it the Q&T or the Q&A, because I've seen it both posted in different places.
Oh, well, the Andrew was asking whether you can copy and paste the questions and answers, or at least the questions. Anywhere, whether you can turn it into a text document, which is an interesting question because there is a competitor. I'm not supposed to mention, I guess, during this show. That does have that capability. Well, Business Hangouts
Yeah, you know what?
To do that.
I'm not too worried about cross-referencing other people, and I would just want to make it clear if you endorse someone and you want to plug them, then it's accepted as a personal plug. And it's not necessarily endorsed by the group here, because we are individuals and we gather together for some commonality, but we're still individuals. And by the way, as we progress on for the rest of our show, I'm thinking that it's going to be another 15 minutes because we started exactly 15 minutes late. And since you joined us, Ray, consider yourself part of the panel. If you have something to say, don't hesitate and go ahead and interject and join us in.
Okay. Well, I've got something to say. I can appreciate the point of view of wanting to bring people over to Crowdcast. I really can, but I don't see this platform like this. I see this platform as a meeting ground because you have people that will not come over to Google+, And they have spent years building up their audiences on Facebook. And, you know, asking them to come over to Google Plus and learn a whole new platform and figure all of that, you know, they're not going to do it unless and until they have a very good reason to do it. This app would be one of those reasons they would want to do that. So and again, to me, the most powerful tool about Hangouts on Air is the ability to pin comments and include the audience into the conversation. It's what differentiates it from television or a movie or anything else. It's interactive. It's true interaction. So to me, it's not about getting people to go somewhere or making them go somewhere. I don't agree with that. I agree with meeting them where they're at. So, you know, go on Facebook and post that you've got this event. Go on Twitter, post you've got this event. If you're on Google Plus, go ahead, post this event. And it's just, this is the common ground that people can meet on, type of thing. So
exactly.
That was my 2 cents.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I would really clarify that. That's how I look at it too. I'm not trying to convert people to Google Plus. I'm just trying to show them that we can have fun over here, and that there are some tools worth incorporating, and they might want to use them themselves. And that, you know, it's kind of like we're the ugly cousin joining the crowd in social media, and all of a sudden the people are looking at us going, "Oh, wow, not so ugly." And plus, he's pretty good at doing backflips. So all of a sudden it's like, by golly, I guess I got to learn backflips. And you know, I don't care if they don't want to do anything else in Google Plus. But if they like Hangouts, then they've adapted and adopted the right thing from Google Plus that makes a difference for them. And if they've got something going in Facebook or they've got something going in Twitter, guess what? Google Plus can't compete with what they do there, because that's a different animal. But there's something going on there that they can take advantage of and guide people from there to the common ground of Crowdcast, and I love that. So I'm 100% in agreement with you, and that's why basically I'm encouraging Molly and Cy to develop things that make the rest of the webcasting facilitators unnecessary. I'd love to have something free that you could get that basically you just don't need anything else, that it works and that it, you know, so forth. So,
well, you know, that's a thought on the subject of the different types of audiences, though, different types of uses. Like if I'm a musician, for instance, I would like to be able to customize my screen. Well, I'm not going to need the Q&T app. Let's face it. I'm doing a concert, like in a concert window, okay? I need the comment stream to be the prominent thing where people are making comments. And so there's different use cases, and I got a tail back here. It's my tail, I admit it. And
notice that.
There we go. So it's just one of 7 chronic interrupters. Come here, you. And but that's a thought, to make it customizable, or just to realize that there's different apps for different purposes. You know, the whole point of being able to bring somebody from my Twitter, Facebook crowd to another place. Well, that's what Concert Window does. That's what the other concert type apps do, and they have tip jars and all these things that are, you know, set up to work in the favor of musicians. Now, I would love to see this also have a tip jar, and I would love to see it be customizable where I could emphasize different parts of it. I would love to be able to watch a video with my peeps in one of these things. That doesn't exist here. It does exist in Business Hangouts. There's features that still aren't here yet. The ability to save my comments with one click. That's a Business Hangouts thing. It's not here yet, but it may be. But then again, does it have to be all the same things as Business Hangouts? Business Hangouts has got what it's got. Concert Window's got what it's got. Just to be aware that these different tools exist, I think, is where it starts becoming a good piece for educating the public on what kinds of tools do exist out there. And of course, your Fedoran and Thinkific stuff as well. It's another whole platform for doing. Doesn't just have to be about courses. That could also be kind of a time-shifted meeting type of a function too, using video.
Okay, Molly's been dying to say something, and I gotta let her go.
Yeah, what I really like about this opportunity of working with Cy is he is open to suggestion, and that is so rare because a lot of times when these type of softwares come out, it's very hard to get to the developers, and even at that, it's very hard to make suggestions and them actually say, hey, that's a good idea, maybe we should do that. And I think this Hangout has been absolutely outstanding. I think there's been a lot of really great ideas and input. I love Rain's idea. Terry, I like your idea too. I think it's really, both really great ideas. And I know I'm super excited about working with Cy and Crowdcast in the sense that, you know, they're very smart tech developers. They've come up with a great product, but at the same time, they need help with marketing. They need help with AdWords. They need help with all the different things that I'm familiar with. So I personally am looking forward to, wrangling their brand and monetizing it and advertising it and marketing what they do. And I am really excited about this opportunity with Cy.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really jumped on board with very many platforms at all. And the Hangouts was a big, huge jump about 8 months ago. And Molly, you were joining about the same time. The first Hangout that I ever actually watched was the one that you did, and that was your first Hangout. So you and I joined about the same week or so. I think I had my first Hangout the week after your first one, and within a couple weeks, you joined me. So it's like we are on this wave of things happening. And I don't know how to convey this to our constituents. It's maybe one of the most important things is to get a lock on where you are in the marketing industry right now. Because right now, we are on the wave of something. I've been talking about YouTube videos for a couple of years, but now with Google Hangouts integrated so closely with YouTube, it makes Hangouts inevitably the thing to do. It's the one thing that you have to do to be easily on YouTube and to have the influence, make the connections, build relationships, build communities, and convey something interactive with the people, as Rain was saying, because it's a two-way street. And when you can get live feedback from people, then that's the most real online that you're going to get. And guess what? It's enough. I have some of my best friends who I've never met in real life, IRL. And does that make them less of a friend? I don't think so. And so that is a testimony to what kind of relationships you can build online, and those things can result in relationships that indelibly will result in sales if you're in marketing, because when they know, like, and trust you that much, who are they going to buy from?
I have to share this. I was on a Hangout earlier this week with Velan Hawking, and we were talking about Google nonprofits. And I got my very first lead from being on that Hangout. He actually contacted me prior to the Hangout, and he's like, oh, I saw your blurb on Velan's event page. And he just called me out of the blue, and I'm like, oh, okay. He said that he's a merchant account provider, but at the same time he wants to sell websites, which makes sense because they kind of go hand in hand. And we had a really nice conversation. I'm not going to bore you with those details, but at the very end I asked him, I said, well, how did you hear about me? That's a typical question I'll ask somebody if they don't email me. I have no idea where they're coming from. He goes, oh, I was on Hangouts and I saw that you were going to be doing a Hangout about nonprofits. And I was like, cool. It was the very first time that just being on a Hangout provided me with the real customer, and this is like a real thing. And he's not only is it just for him, but he's talking about this is going to be multiple. This is going to be a stream of multiple customers coming in. So I just wanted to quickly share that's the power of being on Hangouts. It really, really can bring you business.
Those are the relationships that we are living for, and wish I could timestamp that. Karen has something to say, and she's been waiting for a while, so I want to turn it over to her briefly. Go ahead.
actually, I was going back a couple conversation points. Back to Rain. I mean, I think with Crowdcast, the idea that you have different, audiences, whether they're Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, even with Terry talking about Concert Window, the idea that if there's one wrapper that can kind of put everything together, where the Hangout host can actually then connect with their various, constituents, as you call it, Roland, I think would be an awesome tool. And I think as I'm reading through the stream here, Andrew Hatchett is mentioning the same thing with Terry, that if that was possible, I think we would have, the $1 million or the $1 billion product, right? If we can all kind of bundle together and have those kinds of conversations where everyone can connect. They can stay on their different channels, but yet we all can come together for that one main event, which could be, for example, for today.
That's brilliant, Karen. That is absolutely brilliant. Kudos
Can't
to
we
you.
all just get along?
Yeah, get along. I mean, and not just get along, but just be able to communicate effectively. And you don't have to be on this platform versus that platform. Just whatever is your comfort level, whatever makes your life easy for you, that's what it should be. And if there is one app that can do that, that would be an awesome experience and carry all the different things that we've mentioned today, whether it's donation, I guess technology, whether it's comment tracker and getting all the comments. It would be a wonderful experience if we can do that, just because of listening to all the conversations and watching the Google Plus comment tracker I'm watching, and also watching the Hangout or the Crowdcast track comments coming through. It would be nice, because it is very, very complicated, as
yeah. It needs a unifying dimension.
So your last few thoughts, Terry, you got anything to add?
Well, like I said, a unifying dimension is what we're talking about here. Something that can pull people in from all these different places. Still provide the sessions thing is totally genius. That is one thing that really sets this apart from all other solutions I've seen. And outside of maybe a Udemy, Fedora, Thinkific education page, a course page, where you are creating sessions in that each section of the class is, I guess, similar to a session. But this is, it kind of separates it from being courseware and puts it into being a journal of different interactions, and that's something I really love about this. Okay,
well, in spite of the fact that we did not have Cy today, we think we recovered pretty well and we delivered a message. Not quite necessarily what Cy did, would have. And plus, we weren't able to ask him some of these questions that we've been speculating on. However, I would basically say that we've extended this for the technical difficulties that I brought to the table this morning. I have to go out in the front room and take apart my computer and find out what kind of virus is infringing upon my forward motion.
Run Malwarebytes, run Power Eraser, and run Microsoft Security Essentials. One of those three programs will get rid of your virus. Now, one thing I would recommend is you run those in safe mode. If you're not familiar how to do that, you can go Google it. But when you run those in safe mode, you have a better chance of actually catching the virus and getting rid of it. I'll just quickly share with the audience. There was a virus about a year ago called the white screen of death, and it was a ransomware virus. And it was one of those things that it literally starts up as the computer starts up, and it was very difficult to get rid of. I actually had to use, and this is another idea too, if you just absolutely cannot get your Malwarebyte to work or any of the other softwares, what you can do is go to a totally separate computer, get your thumb drive, download those programs onto your thumb drive, then take it to the infected computer, open up your thumb drive, and run it from the thumb drive, and that will get rid of the virus.
So a free lesson on Malwarebytes and removal of viruses there from Molly. So, you know, I'm sorry that we have to wrap things up, but I wanted to read you something that I noticed just a couple days ago. An excerpt from a July 1st post from Michael Wolff, and the post was basically, Well, he's the author of Television is the New Television, The Unexpected Triumph of Old Media in the Digital Age. And it basically talks about a subject that he subheads, The End of Advertising as We Know It. And I've been saying this for 8 months. Well, I've been saying it for 2 years, actually, but in 8 months in Hangouts, I've been saying that advertising is taking a morphing dive and that we have to restructure what we're doing. I never said we don't have to charge for our stuff, but when we're doing something like a series of Hangouts, we want to focus on delivering value and building relationships and doing that sort of thing. Well, this is the statement that came from that, stated by Michael Wolff. It would be ignoring the obvious not to quote that the effectiveness of advertising, that is, traditional high-margin display advertising that builds brands and the builder of brands and the creator of desire, has reached some sort of plateau or even a level of negative impact among jaded media consumers. Now, basically, he just said very eloquently what I've been saying for a long time. In the social media world, advertising sucks. It's dead. It's rejected 80% outright by the constituents who are looking at even Facebook or anywhere else. If they're there to powwow with their friends, even if they're talking about their dinner salad or where they have lunch or whether their shoes got polished today, it doesn't matter. They're there for their reasons. And then you're throwing ads in their faces, and it just doesn't work. And so it could actually be doing a negative job to promote your business, and they might be annoyed by what we're doing. So isn't it better to get involved with something online that builds your brand, exposes you, educates the people so that they know what it is you promote and know what it is you do and know what it is you're the authority for? That's the purpose of communicating online and using the social media and things like Hangouts to convey this, because that's how believable that you can be at the end of the day. So, you know, we need to keep that in mind and get the selling concept out of our minds just enough so that we can concentrate on the value. Because as Molly brought up a little while ago, if the people decide they want you for their service, they're going to call, and that's the objective. So be wanted above and beyond the competition. Be the destination call. Don't be the best article or ad on the market or the most compelling video that drives people to an instantaneous sale, because people are looking for value, and that's what's going to sell. So that's a few minutes longer than I meant to be, and I thank you very much, everybody, and especially Rain for joining us on the fly, and for everyone. Molly, thank you very much for our infographic to guide people's thinking, and Terry, your comments, and Karen, thank you for your brilliance also, and I really appreciate you guys. But most of all, I appreciate the fact that several smarties, a couple dozen, are willing to pilot through all the waves of Google Plus and Crowdcast and everything else to be with us today. So Saturday morning, Marketing Smarties, thank you very much. We're going to sign off now. Thanks a lot.